The Treasure of Mount Ararat. Chapter 1. The Legend Begins. Alex was not like other young people his age. While most spent their weekends watching movies or playing games, Alex loved reading books about ancient mysteries and forgotten treasures. His dream was simple but exciting: to solve puzzles from the past that no one else could crack. He often imagined himself as an adventurer, climbing mountains and exploring hidden caves in search of answers. One day, Alex met Sarah, a smart archaeologist who shared his passion for history. Sarah had spent years studying old ruins and artifacts, and she always carried a notebook filled with sketches and notes. Together, they formed a team with Mark, a survival expert known for his calmness in dangerous situations. Mark's knowledge of nature and outdoor skills made him the perfect person to handle challenges on tough journeys. Finally, there was Dr. Lee, a kind and wise religious scholar who knew everything about ancient stories and legends. Dr. Lee believed that history and faith were deeply connected, and he loved sharing his ideas with others. Together, these four friends made a great team, each bringing something unique to every adventure. One rainy afternoon, Alex decided to clean out his grandfather's attic. As he moved boxes and dusted shelves, he found something unusual tucked inside an old wooden chest: a rolled-up piece of parchment tied with a faded red ribbon. Curious, Alex untied the ribbon and unrolled the map. It was old and fragile, with strange symbols drawn across it and lines marking a path leading to Mount Ararat. In the corner, tiny handwriting mentioned Noah's Ark. Alex's heart raced. Could this map really lead to the legendary Ark? He called Sarah, Mark, and Dr. Lee to share the discovery. When they arrived, they gathered around the map, their eyes wide with excitement. "This is incredible," Sarah said, tracing the lines with her finger. "If this is real, it could be the find of a lifetime." Mark crossed his arms and smiled. "It looks like we've got ourselves an adventure. But Mount Ararat isn't easy to climb. We'll need to prepare carefully." Dr. Lee adjusted his glasses and studied the symbols. "These markings? They remind me of ancient scripts I've seen in religious texts. This map might be more than just directions. It could hold clues to understanding Noah's Ark itself." The group talked late into the night, discussing the legend of Noah's Ark and what it would mean to uncover its truth. They all agreed it was worth the risk. Over the next few days, they prepared for the journey. Sarah packed tools for digging and examining artifacts, while Mark gathered supplies like ropes, tents, and food. Dr. Lee brought books and notes about Mount Ararat's history and the stories surrounding it. Alex kept the map safe, studying it every chance he got. Finally, the day came to set off. The team traveled to Turkey, where Mount Ararat stood tall against the horizon. Its snow-covered peak looked both beautiful and intimidating. As they began their climb, the air grew colder and the path became steeper. Excitement buzzed through the group, but so did nervousness. Chapter 2. Trials on the Mountain. The climb up Mount Ararat was harder than anyone had expected. The air grew thinner, and the cold bit at their faces like tiny needles. Freezing temperatures made every step feel heavier. and strong winds whipped snow into their eyes. One morning, as they trudged through knee-deep snow, a sudden storm hit without warning. The sky turned dark, and icy gusts threatened to knock them off their feet. Mark quickly took charge. "We need shelter now!" he shouted over the howling wind. Using his survival skills, he led the team to a rocky overhang where they could take cover. He handed out thermal blankets and showed them how to conserve heat by huddling together. "Stay calm," Mark said firmly. "Storms like this don't last forever." For hours they waited, listening to the wind roar outside. When the storm finally passed, the team emerged shivering but grateful. "Thanks to you, we're still alive," Sarah said, smiling weakly at Mark. As they continued climbing, the mountain revealed new dangers. Late one afternoon, while setting up camp near a frozen stream, they heard low growls in the distance. A pack of wolves appeared on the ridge above them, their sharp eyes glinting in the fading light. "We can't let them get too close," Mark warned. He started a fire to keep the animals at bay, while Alex and Sarah gathered rocks to build a protective circle around their tents. Dr. Lee stayed alert, holding a flashlight to scare off any wolf that came too near. The wolves circled for a while, but eventually retreated into the shadows. Exhausted, the team settled down for the night, knowing they had narrowly avoided disaster. The next day brought another challenge, a landslide. As they climbed higher, loose rocks suddenly gave way beneath their feet. Alex slipped and slid several feet before grabbing onto a sturdy branch. His heart pounded as Mark pulled him back to safety. "This path is too dangerous," Sarah said, brushing dirt from her gloves. "We'll have to find a new route." After consulting the map, they decided to take a longer but safer trail around the unstable area. It slowed them down, but it kept them alive. Despite the hardships, there were moments of hope. One afternoon, while resting near a cluster of boulders, Sarah noticed strange carvings etched into the rock. She called the others over. "Look at this!" she exclaimed. The symbols matched those on the map, confirming they were on the right track. "This has to be part of the same trail," Alex said, tracing the markings with his fingers. Dr. Lee nodded thoughtfully. "These symbols are similar to ones I've seen in ancient texts about Noah's Ark. They might even tell us something about its purpose." That evening, as they sat around the campfire, Dr. Lee shared stories from religious texts about Noah and the Great Flood. "Imagine what it must have been like to build such a massive ship and save all those animals," he said. His words filled the group with awe and renewed determination. But not everything was smooth sailing. Fatigue began to wear on the team. Tempers flared when simple tasks took longer than expected, and disagreements arose over which paths to take. One night, after a particularly grueling day, Sarah snapped at Alex during dinner. "Maybe we should just turn back. This is impossible." Alex sighed, looking at each of his teammates. "I know it's hard," he said calmly, "but we've come so far already. Think about why we started this journey, to uncover the truth about Noah's Ark. We can't give up now." His words struck a chord. Slowly, the tension eased, and the team remembered why they were here. Together, they vowed to push forward, no matter how tough the road ahead might be. Mount Ararat tested them in ways they never imagined. but it also brought them closer together. Each challenge only strengthened their resolve. Somewhere high above them, hidden beneath layers of ice and snow, the treasure they sought awaited discovery, and they were determined to find it. Chapter 3: Secrets of the Mountain. After days of relentless climbing and overcoming countless obstacles, the team finally reached a secluded part of Mount Ararat. The air was colder here, and the ground beneath their boots felt different, solid yet uneven, as if hiding something beneath its surface. Sarah noticed an unusual pattern in the rocks ahead. "Wait!" she called out, crouching down to examine it more closely. "This isn't natural. It looks like a doorway." With excitement bubbling inside them, the team began clearing away layers of ice and snow. Slowly, an opening emerged, a dark, narrow entrance leading into what appeared to be an ancient cave. Alex shone his flashlight inside, revealing walls covered in frost and strange carvings. "Let's go in," he said, his voice steady despite the thrill coursing through him. Inside, the cave was eerily quiet, save for the sound of dripping water echoing off the icy walls. As they ventured deeper, they stumbled upon artifacts scattered across the floor, fragments of wood that seemed unnaturally preserved, tools with rusted edges, and pottery shards etched with intricate designs. Sarah carefully picked up one of the wooden pieces, running her fingers over its smooth surface. "These could actually be from Noah's Ark," she whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. The discovery sent a wave of awe through the group. For years, people had searched for proof of the legendary vessel, and now here they were, standing in a place that might hold the answers. Further inside the cave, Sarah spotted markings on the walls, symbols similar to those on the map, but accompanied by lines of text. She pulled out her notebook and began deciphering them. After several minutes, she looked up at the others, her expression serious. "It's a message," she explained. "It talks about Noah's Ark being protected by guardians who watch over it. It warns anyone who comes here not to disturb the treasure unless their intentions are pure." The words sent a chill down everyone's spines. "Guardians?" Mark asked skeptically, gripping his flashlight tighter. "You think this is some kind of trap?" "Maybe not literally," Dr. Lee interjected thoughtfully. "But it could mean we're not alone here. Someone, or something, is guarding this place." Their unease grew when, later that day, another group of explorers appeared outside the cave. They were rugged-looking men dressed in heavy gear, and they didn't seem friendly. One of them stepped forward, pointing at the cave. "That site belongs to us," he declared. "Hand over whatever you found." Alex exchanged a glance with his team. He knew they couldn't fight these strangers. They were outnumbered and exhausted. Instead, he decided to use clever thinking. "We haven't found anything valuable yet," Alex lied smoothly. "Just some old rocks and carvings. If you want to waste your time looking, be our guest." The leader narrowed his eyes suspiciously, but eventually motioned for his group to enter the cave. As soon as they disappeared inside, Alex quickly led his team to a hidden alcove nearby where they could hide and regroup. "We'll wait until they leave," he whispered. "Then we'll figure out how to protect the artifacts." Once the rival explorers moved deeper into the cave, the team slipped away unnoticed. Back at their camp, they discussed their next steps. Dr. Lee sat quietly for a moment before speaking. This discovery, it's more than just history. It bridges science and faith. People have debated for centuries whether Noah's Ark was real or symbolic. What we've found today proves that there's truth in both perspectives. His words sparked meaningful conversations among the group. Sarah talked about how archaeology often intersected with religion, while Mark reflected on how nature itself seemed to guard sacred places like this mountain. Even Alex admitted that the journey had changed him. "I started this trip hoping to solve a mystery," he said. "But now I realize it's about so much more. It's about understanding where we come from, and maybe even why we believe what we do." As night fell, the team huddled around the fire, their minds racing with possibilities. They knew they couldn't let the rival explorers take credit for their discovery, or worse, damage the site in their search for riches. But they also knew they couldn't face them alone. For now, they would rest and plan their next move, determined to protect the secrets of the mountain no matter what challenges lay ahead. Chapter 4. The Final Revelation. After days of grueling effort, the team finally reached the highest point marked on the map. The air was thin and icy, but their spirits soared as they stood together at the summit of Mount Ararat. Before them lay a breathtaking sight, a massive structure partially buried beneath layers of ice and snow. Its shape was unmistakable, resembling the hull of an enormous ship frozen in time. This is it," Alex whispered, his voice trembling with awe. "We've found it." Sarah knelt down to examine the exposed sections of wood. She carefully collected samples, her hands shaking with excitement. "If these tests confirm what we think," she said, "this could rewrite history." Mark helped clear away more ice, revealing intricate carvings along the edges of the structure. Dr. Lee traced the patterns with reverence. "These designs match descriptions from ancient texts," he murmured. "It's incredible." Back at their camp, Sarah conducted preliminary tests on the wooden fragments using portable equipment. The results were astonishing. The wood dated back thousands of years, aligning perfectly with the timeline of Noah's Ark. It wasn't definitive proof, but it was enough to support the legend. The team sat in stunned silence, absorbing the magnitude of their discovery. But as they reflected on their journey, they realized something even more profound. The real treasure wasn't finding the Ark itself, Alex said thoughtfully. It was everything we went through to get here. The challenges, the teamwork, the moments when we doubted ourselves, but kept going anyway. Dr. Lee nodded. And the connection between faith and science. This discovery reminds us that truth can exist in both realms. Sarah smiled. For me, it's about uncovering stories that have been lost for centuries. Every artifact tells a piece of humanity's story. Mark added, "I learned how much stronger we are when we work together. Without each other, none of us would have made it this far." With their mission complete, the team began their descent down Mount Ararat. They carried with them not only samples and photographs, but also memories that would last a lifetime. As they traveled back to Turkey, they shared their findings with local authorities and historians, ensuring the site would be protected and studied further. Each member of the team reflected on how the adventure had changed them personally. Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that solving mysteries could inspire others to seek knowledge. Sarah returned to her work with a deeper appreciation for the stories behind artifacts. Mark discovered a newfound patience and respect for the power of nature, and Dr. Lee felt closer to understanding the intersection of faith and history, eager to share his insights with the world. As they prepared to part ways, Alex pulled out the old map one last time. He noticed something he hadn't seen before, a faint line extending beyond Mount Ararat, leading to another location marked with cryptic symbols. His eyes lit up with curiosity. "Looks like our journey isn't over yet," he said, showing the map to the others. Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Another mystery." "Maybe," Alex replied with a grin. "But if it's anything like this one, I know we'll face it together." The team exchanged knowing smiles, already imagining their next adventure. For now, though, they allowed themselves to savor the moment, the culmination of a journey that had tested their limits, deepened their bonds, and uncovered a truth hidden for millennia beneath the ice of Mount Ararat. And somewhere in the distance, the mountains seemed to whisper promises of secrets yet to be revealed.